Hello and welcome to India. This is round 16 of Season 2 of F1 2013 Career Mode, and once again we're joined in qualifying 1, and we're going to go out on track now and see how far up the grid we can get in this session. But this championship is getting closer and closer to the end. This last couple of races have really gone by like a flash, and it'll only be a matter of time before we're rolling up to Brazil for the finale, so I look forward to that. It should be a pretty interesting and exciting finish to this championship. But there's something I want to show you here, guys. There's a reason why I'm going out the track and showing you what's going to happen here. For some reason my wheel wasn't calibrated or something like that, and it just completely turned to the left, meaning we went outside of the pit lane boundaries over the white line, and they gave us a 10 place grid penalty in Q1. So what I did there was I decided to retire from the session right then and there. I didn't want to use any sets of tyres in qualifying because I know how bad the tyre wear is at this race. So pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to save up all my sets for flexibility and race strategy purposes, because we're going to be down the order anyway. We're probably better off being, right at the back, and we can pick our way through the field, as opposed to being right in the middle of the pack and getting potentially caught up in some incidences. So, incidents? Why did I say incidences? Anyway, here we are. We're lining up in parc fermé conditions in the garages, and I'm probably going to start on the prime tyres. So I'm going to pretty much run the same strategy I did in Korea. It seemed to work for us fairly well. We're going to get the slow and terrible tyre out of the way first up, and then we'll put on 3 sets of option tyres to go to the end. But India is much tougher on the tyre wear than Korea. It's a lot like a Silverstone, this track. The lateral G-forces in the high-speed corners really take it out of the tyres, so that's something we'll need to watch out for in this race. But here we are waiting for the 5 red lights, and away we go here in India. Looks like we've got off to a terrible start. Even compared to the back markers, this Ferrari really has been lacking on its starts for the last couple of races, but it's not going to matter too much. We're going to come into turn 1 fairly cautiously. I don't want to get caught up in any incidents like that Toro Rosso did. Daniel Ricciardo getting pushed out and to the back of the field now. That's exactly what I didn't want to do by starting right in the pack here, and it's just all nasty stuff. We haven't been in this situation for a very long time as we run over the top of a bollard there. But luckily this isn't 100% simulation, and we probably won't get a puncture from that like you probably would in real life. You'd probably even chip off a bit of your wing there, possibly, or get caught under there, which would be a bit nasty. But look at that, the base of the bollard there just came drifting across the track from one of the Caterhams and almost onto my car, and that's Esteban Gutierrez as well, pulling off to the side. Not too sure if he's got some kind of reliability problem or if he just got pushed out there, but either way, he's going to drop a whole bunch of positions. And speaking of dropping positions, we might potentially do that as Romain Grosjean, I believe, has gone wide again. So again, at the start of races, these AI cars are just making so many mistakes or getting caught up with each other, and it's just costing them such amount of points in these races. But we get up the inside of Paul di Resta, who was actually brake checking us back at the middle sector of the opening lap, but thankfully we've disposed of him, and now we can focus on getting past Pastor Maldonado and that terrible Williams, which seems to be very, very, very terrible in this game. So we'll get past him as soon as possible. And look at that, there's a Marussia in 12th place. Jules Bianchi doing so well for Marussia so far in this race, up into 12th place, and kudos to you, son. So there we go, P11 for the taking now as we get past Valtteri Bottas, and that's Grosjean right in front of us. So I apologise for making a mistake there. That must have been Kimi Raikkonen, who was in the wars just a couple of laps ago, but we dispose of Grosjean now at the inside, coming into turn 3, I believe it is, or that might actually be turn 4, depending on how you count your corners. But here on lap 7, we caught up to the back of Jenson Button in that McLaren, who was challenging for the race win in Suzuka. He's not having such fortune today, but he's still going to score some decent points for McLaren if he maintains his current position. But we snatch up his place for P9, and now we're going to focus on getting past Adrian Sutil. We dive bomb him coming into the final corner, and we may have DRS depending on where the activation point is. Yes, we are. We've got the DRS, and we fly past him there. So Next up is Sergio Perez, and we've actually made a mistake coming into turn 1. We're going to have to overtake Satil again, and possibly Jenson Button, who, yes, he's jumped us as well, so that's a couple of places we've lost there, and crucially, more time we're losing to the leaders. Sebastian Vettel is leading this race, so I need to get through the field as quickly as possible because he's only 15 points behind me, I believe, in the championship, so I can't afford to muck around for too long. However, I am on the prime tyres, and I've made my way through the field fairly quickly, so I'm pretty proud of that. I'm actually running the Mark Webber strategy that he ran in the Indian Grand Prix last year, starting on the primes. But in conversely to the real life race, everyone was pitting after like 3 or 4 laps on the prime tyres, or it was the option tyres. I remember nobody really wanted to run the option tyres in that race. They pitted after like 2 or 3 laps, but we'll see how it handles in a few laps time when we try out the options very soon. But the leaders have now come in. On the previous lap, I believe Vettel came in as well. But now Lewis Hamilton has rejoined in the lead. So Vettel must have had a poor in or out lap, and now he's been jumped by Lewis Hamilton and myself. Of course, I haven't stopped yet. I tried to get a good run out of that turn 4 section, but it really didn't work. I got a whole bunch of wheel spin, and that means that Hamilton got away, and now Sebastian Vettel is trying to pass me around the outside with DRS coming into turn 5. I'm really terrible for corner names around India. None of the corners really stand out as landmark corners for me, but I apologise for that. I'll probably get used to the corner names for all the tracks very soon. But back to this race, and our tyres are absolutely falling off the cliff right now. They're scheduled to do about 20 laps in this race, and I'm just struggling so far, just 16 laps. I've got to do another 4 or 5 laps on this set of tyres, and I'm trying to stretch them out. I tried to train Vettel and the people behind, but it just hasn't worked. My rival Vettel has got away, so that means I'm going to have to come in ASAP because I don't want him to get away, and I don't want to lose points in this race, so I'm going to try and get on the faster tyre and then make up as much time as I can on that new tyre. But we lock up coming into turn 3. I'm just going to say that's turn 3. I'm not too sure which corner name that is exactly. But we lose a position to Mark Webber there, and now we've dropped out of the podium position, so I'm just dropping like a fly now. I'm losing 3 to 4 seconds a lap compared to the leaders who have much fresher tyres, and they're opting for the option tyres again for this stint, so it'll be interesting to see what tyre they go on later on in the race, as I completely lose my voice there, apologies. The prime tyres, I already know that the prime tyres are absolutely terrible in this race, and it's pretty much going to be like a liability having to run the prime tyres. So whenever they opt to put on their prime tyres, they're going to lose a whole bunch of time to me as I run my option stints for the rest of the race. But now on lap 17, I'm coming in for my first pit stop of the day. I had to think about it there. We're putting on a set of option tyres, even though I selected primes there. That was a mistake. So I'm coming in for the undercut. By coming in early, I'm going to have to stay out a little bit longer on my following sets of option tyres, and that may bite me in the end because, as I've said before and I've said many times, India is very tough on the tyres, so we need to be very careful here. Try and stretch out these opening couple of stints on the options as far as we can because we don't want to do an extra stop around here. We've already taken the time loss by stretching out these prime tyres longer than what we needed to, and by coming in for an extra stop, that would be absolutely disastrous. But now we've managed to catch up to the back of Nico Rosberg so quickly. His tyres are now starting to degrade, and it's the end of his stint pretty much. So what you're going to see here, lads, is this race is going to be a lot like a yo-yo effect or a rubber band effect, where the people on new tyres are just going to storm right through the field, and then the people on old tyres are just going to fall so far back that it's ridiculous. So that's going to be the trend of the race. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Of course, tyre wear is pretty much going to be the determining factor in who wins this race, so it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. But hopefully these option tyres are kind to me as I try and make the most of them throughout the most of this race. So we've caught up to the back of our teammate now, Fernando Alonso, and hopefully he doesn't make things too difficult for us as we go up the inside of him into turn 3. Looks like we should have DRS because the activation point was before that corner, but we've run in a little bit too deep there and Fernando got the place back. But it's not going to cost us too much time or any positions really, as we'll get the DRS and we'll fly back past him again. So no harm lost and no love lost between the teammates there. So I'm not too sure how Fernando and how the whole Ferrari operation are accepting of me just coming into Ferrari and then just assuming this #1 driver position. I don't think they'd be too happy, to be honest, but cutting to lap 29 now, and it looks like the leaders are coming in again, and it'll only be a matter of time before I come in for my pit stop. I think my second stop is scheduled for lap 34, so it's only going to be a very short time away. But Mark Webber gets past me with the DRS, but I'm going to try and counter-attack him, but I've locked up coming into turn 5, and it really hasn't worked out there. My tyres are absolutely destroyed at this stage. There's so much marbles on them, and coming through to this right-hander, the front left is just screaming for mercy. There's just nothing left on the tread or the tyres, and now Fernando Alonso has actually caught up to me once again after I pulled away. So it's interesting to note how quickly your fortunes can change just due to the tyre wear. But now we're coming in for our second pit stop of the race. We're dropping down the field as we pull into the pit lane now, and hopefully we've been able to climb forward in regards to the rest of the field in this stint. I think I've been moving forward just ever so slightly, but this tyre wear really is starting to have an effect on my race strategy and whatnot, because I have to keep on coming in early because I'm just struggling on these tyres, and it may end up costing me later on in the race. We'll have to wait and see on that one. We may even have to switch to prime tyres later on just to get to the finish, but I really don't want to do that because the primes are so slow and they really don't last much longer than the options. So we'll see how this plays out. And on lap 34, we've caught up to the back of Nico Rosberg again as their tyres are starting to degrade now. I'm coming into my prime now with fastest laps. The green edge of the tyres is really providing such a big benefit to me as I go up the inside of him into turn 3. And I've got a whole bar of curves and a bit of DRS to use, and I may even jump Vettel at the end of this straight. The straight line speed difference is quite amazing when you compare it. And we're trying to go up the inside here. Vettel leaves us just enough room. And yes, we get the move done, but Vettel is forced out wide. No fault of my own there. I left him plenty of room. He just felt the need to leave a little bit of space, and I think he actually left too much room there as he gets forced out wide there on the replay. But now, lap 45, we're coming in for our final pit stop of the race, our third and final one. We've got 15 laps to do on this final stint, and it's going to be the longest stint of the race. We've only been able to do about 13-ish laps on our option tyres so far, so this final stint, this final sprint to the finish is going to be very tricky and very interesting indeed. Traditionally, the tyre wear in the final stint isn't too bad, but we're going to have to wait and see how these tyres handle. We're going to try and push as hard as we can to try and get up the field and get ourselves back into this championship. Alright, so here we are on lap 54. We finally caught up to the back of Nico Hülkenberg now, who's in third place. So if we pass him, we're now into the podium positions. And I'm not going to muck around here, guys. I'm going to go straight up the inside of Nico because I know my tyre wear is going to be so bad in the last couple of laps. I just need to get track position now, and then I'll try and defend as hard as I can in these last couple of laps now, lap 59. And it looks like Nico Hülkenberg has actually spun out there out of the final corner. I just saw that in the corner of my eye. And as we see on the replay here, just watch the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. You'll see that Sauber spinning, and that's now released Nico Rosberg and Sebastian Vettel into 4th and 5th place respectively, and they're my two championship rivals. Well, Nico Rosberg not so much, but Sebastian Vettel is truly a rival in this championship. But Nico goes up my inside coming into turn 5, and I'm going to try and counter-attack here, back up the inside, but I've locked up that inside front tyre, and Sebastian Vettel has jumped both of us now. So Sebastian Vettel goes from 5th to 3rd, and I've now dropped 2 points compared to Seb, and I need to get that place back, otherwise he'll be gaining points on me in the championship, and I can't have that because every single point in this championship counts. And if we come to the end of Brazil and I only lose this championship by a couple of points, I'll look back on this moment with much regret, so I don't want to do that. So I think Seb might actually be gone now. I've got nothing to fight with these tyres. They're absolutely destroyed at the moment. They've gone off the cliff like a lap ago, and so I've just got to focus on keeping Nico Rosberg behind me, because if I concede a place to him, I'll lose another 2 points. But we get so much understeer coming into the penultimate corner, and we've dropped another place, and that's another 2 points down the drain coming out of the final corner. It looks like we might finish in 5th place, but it wasn't too bad considering where we started in this race.
Congratulations, 5th place.
Alright, so there we are, 5th place and 10 points to add to the championship tally. Unfortunately, we lost a couple of places there, and hopefully that isn't too crucial in the championship perspective. But Lewis Hamilton takes out this win from Mark Webber and Sebastian Vettel. I truly am happy with the result today. Despite losing those couple of places, we managed to come through the field and score some solid points. And if you guys didn't notice that, Fernando Alonso has dropped out of the race in this Indian Grand Prix. I believe he had some brake troubles. My engineer told me over the radio at one point in the race. But in terms of the championship, we are 7 points ahead of Sebastian Vettel in the standings, so the lead is still intact, but only just. It's going to be a tight finish, a tight run to the finish of this championship, so I'm really looking forward to the battle between myself and Sebastian. I hope you guys can join me for the ride for the rest of this championship. But that's been the Indian Grand Prix, guys. Until the next race in Abu Dhabi, I'll see you guys next time. We